Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk Life with London. My name is London Kasmir. I'm your host, and today I'm talking all things entrepreneurship and STEM education with my girl, Naomi Thomas. Naomi is building the future of STEM education with her startup Beyond. It's an ed tech platform that matches student interests with potential tech careers through an inclusive chatbot experience. She leverages gamification and incentives to help students learn tech skills. And Naomi is on a mission to improve diverse representation in STEM. She's also the founder and former chief executive for BB Market. It's a digital marketing company that serves public figures and global brands, reaching millions of users per week. Naomi currently lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and in her free time, she enjoys exploring the fashion industry as a Ford model. I am going to welcome Naomi to the show.
Hi, London. Oh my God, thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. I was really so excited to have you as the guest on the first season. A lot of people don't know, but we went to school together. That's how we met at UNCG.
Go
And
Spartans.
yes, go Spartans. I honestly have been following your journey since then because you have really been doing this since then. And I don't know what the timeline was, but I don't know if you were doing this before college or, once you were in school and you got connected with other people, you were just like, okay, I'm motivated. Let's do this. So I want to hear all about how this STEM journey started for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it actually started, my STEM journey started at a very young age. I was 6 years old when I built my first computer. And my parents, they put me in a lot of like women in engineering and computer science camps on the weekends. I did a computer science institute at UC Berkeley when I was in high school. I worked with Google for a year at UNCG when I was in college. I also was, building websites for friends and family. That's how I taught myself HTML really in the MySpace days. And not a lot
Love
of people know that you were actually like coding per se when you were building your MySpace profile on the back
it.
end. And a lot of my friends would ask me to, you know, put in a lot of cool effects, and that's when I taught myself HTML, and then really leveraged that to build my own personal website when I was applying for colleges, so I could stand out. I called it a ResuWeb, a resume website, where I had all of my past experiences and my interest in tech, and that pretty much evolved into a digital marketing agency. Just from making websites to actually running my own social media platform, and really working on my own personal brand to, just become more of just a voice for other women in tech, and really increase that. And I can talk a little bit more about it, but increase just representation of women and minorities in the tech space and in entrepreneurship. And I leveraged that to monetize my own personal brand and use some of those same tactics to work with other organizations. And that evolved into Boss Business Market today.
And that's really inspiring because a lot of people would say, I don't see people like myself in this space, so maybe I'm not supposed to be there. What motivated you to be like, you know what, I might be the only girl that looks like me in this space, or maybe one of, a handful, but I'm going to walk in there with confidence and I know who I am in this space, and I know I add value. Where did that come from? Your parents, or you just always had that confidence?
Yeah, so the confidence kind of derived from going to those initial computer science camps when I was going through like middle school and high school. I went to California to Google's headquarters, and did a computer science institute at UC Berkeley there. I toured Google, Twitter, a lot of the tech companies in Silicon Valley. And when I was on those tours, there was a lot of, fun perks. Like working for tech companies, a lot of people don't really know. I mean, they really focus on the employee experience. They want to make it fun. There's free food, there's
Love
massages at Google Camp.
that.
I know, it's crazy. There's bowling, there's ping pong tables. I mean, it's a lot of glitz and glamour, but behind all of that, I quickly noticed that there wasn't a lot of, representation of minorities. There weren't a lot of people that looked like me when I was on those tours. I didn't felt like, I was around, it was as much of an inclusive environment because I just felt like I didn't fit in. I just stuck out. And so that just made like, it quickly became my mission to want to increase representation in tech from then. And so regardless of the statistics or how many people, how many people that look like me were in the rooms I was walking in, I knew that as long as I was one of the first or one of the few to really start, building this movement around getting more women in tech and minorities in tech, it would, pay off, and we could, really make, something happen and impact the lives of other people. Because it's like technology, as you know, everybody use it. Like STEM, it's one of the, most common industries in the world that everybody partakes in, whether they are on the side of building it or on the consumer side. Anybody that's listening to this interview right now, and you're partaking in technology, and it's important that technology is not, only made by, for consumers, but made by the consumers that it serves. We need those people in those rooms that are making products for all people and not just becoming more biased. So if you look at some of the trends with facial recognition and AI, there's a lot of, a lot of issues that have been coming up because they're made by like it's a white dominated industry. So they're made by mainly white counterparts that aren't thinking of minorities' perspectives. And so we need those people in those rooms. And that's what really motivates me to want to impact and get everybody on board to just start being part of the movement, learning tech skills, because once you're in it, I mean, you'll just see how much benefit that it will have for everyone.
Yeah, and you're doing just that. So for those of us that really don't understand, like you said, we're all around STEM even when we don't know. So for those of us that really don't understand what it is and why it's so important, what's something in, I guess, layman's terms that, on an everyday basis that would be a job or would be like a career path in tech or a career path in STEM education that we wouldn't even have known, that that's what that career path was?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to break down like STEM, when we're saying STEM, it means science, technology, engineering, and math. It's an acronym for all the fields. And basically, science, technology is all around us. But what's important to understand is you really don't even have to know how to code to be in the tech industry. So there's a lot of tech companies out there. So when you think about, just thinking about just your interests, like, do you like music? Do you like sports? Do you like beauty, fashion? I mean, technology is integrated in every single industry. So, for example, if you like sports, you could pursue a career with Nike, but as a software developer, or you could work for the NBA, but as a data analyst. You could work in an industry that you're really passionate about, and say, you want to make it to the NBA as a baller, but that doesn't happen. You can still work for the NBA team in a career that you're passionate about and know like the back of your hand, but needs your representation. So it's important to understand, just from, a lot of the music platforms that you're listening to. If you like music, you could work for Spotify. And then there's non-technical roles at tech companies. So you could work in marketing, you can work in sales, you can work in HR. You can understand the fundamentals of what the software developers are doing, but lead them as a product manager. There's just so many different technical and non-technical roles that no matter what you're interested in, you can find a fit within the tech industry.
And I think that's so important that you say there's a variety of things that you can do in this space. I think when we think tech or we think technology or even like IT or something like that, we think you have to be some like it would intimidate me. I would be like, okay, I'm not a numbers girl. I don't know how to code, I would be really intimidated. And I think that could be leading the leading factor as to like why there's not that representation there. Do you think that's really what it is? It's almost, feeling like there's not room or there's not space because there's like a lack of confidence there, or maybe overwhelmed by just the title or the name? Or what do you think is really the cause of the lack of representation?
Yeah, so it's a lot of different factors, and a lot of it is very systemic.
Mhm.
But I will say, I mean, there is just from just representation on the career side and in the companies of minorities. It's getting better, but I will say there's a lot of Black tech professionals, a lot of women in tech professionals out there that aren't getting those jobs because of systemic issues.
Mhm.
Just from
Mhm.
the side of communities that may be underserved or under resourced, they don't really have the exposure to tech careers or tech resources to even enter the industry. That's an issue
Okay.
as well. It's also stereotypes around just the influence of the media that has portrayed over the years of, you're in a dark room coding like a nerd. It's not cool. I mean, there's just a
Mhm.
lot of different factors, especially when women, it's mostly men that have been portrayed, but the media has been improving in that aspect. So it's going to take, a, a big effort from all ends of the spectrum to really increase this representation. Right now, it's only like 6% Black and 7% Latinx that are represented in the tech industry.
Wow.
So it's very low, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of diversity and inclusion efforts that are taking place, but it's not really, creating the best impact, because when you get down to what really matters, actually hiring Black professionals, there's a lot of Black professionals out there that aren't getting that opportunity, that aren't getting their foot in the door to be able to show that they are needed, and the companies
Mhm.
valuing them, even though they may say they are through PR, messages and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
just, I'm on the tech education aspect or part of the ecosystem where I'm trying to help those that don't have that knowledge or
Mhm.
exposure to it. But to even get into an actual company, there needs to be a better effort of just giving people a chance and really valuing those people that are credible, that have gone through, studying and have all the credentials to actually hire them and help them make an impact in the industry.
Absolutely. So, like you said, it's systemic. It's not necessarily that there's a lack of talent out there. It's recruiting that talent. So it's going to be starting from HR. Where is the Black representation in HR? Where is the, POC representation in HR and leadership, where somebody's like, hey, I'm a VP in this room, and there's no, even it takes that, the white voices, just even more to push that for that, not just us saying, hey, there's none of us in this room. It takes them being like, hey, it's just us in this room. And so I think it's very important that you say that it's not like the talent isn't there.
Right.
So what resources, if someone wants to get into the tech industry, what resources are out there to help, Black and brown people to find these opportunities?
Yeah, so I definitely want to plug in my Startup Beyond, because it's a great starting point to really, we take a passion first approach. So we're connecting your interests to careers in technology, and it's all centered around career exploration as of now, where you're interacting in a very approachable way with, a chat bot. We also do have a human takeover component if you do have questions, but you answer questions around your favorite industries, your dream location to work, different type of aspects, or just from a culture standpoint of what a company has, just from, and also just an employee experience. Do you want to work at home or work in an actual building? Um,
Right.
so we match, you go through this. It actually takes a few minutes. So if you go to beyondcareerfinder.com, by the time we finish interviewing, you could already get your results. You get them instantly, and it will show you careers at those brands, at your favorite brands, that you could potentially pursue and the skills that you would need to start learning to pursue those careers. And then there's a lot of different free resources through YouTube, through, just code.org is a great resource as well, where they gamify STEM education, which is really awesome. But yeah, just Google is your best tool. And everybody that is actually like a software developer, like Google is your partner throughout the entire journey in tech. You will use it even when you're on the job. You use Google to try to help innovate, because it's one of those industries that you're constantly solving problems. It's all centered around problem solving. So you're challenging yourself. It's a community effort. You're networking, team building. You're leveraging your team to really hash out, issues. And it's one of those things that nothing will ever be, created. And nothing is ever, wrong. You can so many different varieties of ways and solutions to solve a specific problem. So it allows you to be really creative in that aspect and getting there. And so I encourage everybody to just you never know, even if you're in a career that, you are really passionate about, you never know what else is out there that you can really start dabbling in, because the way that we're going in the future, like technology is really going to be more and more immersed around us. So I would definitely recommend kind of getting those tech skills so that you can evolve your own industry and advance it, and use technology as not something that, like, I know technology, there's good and bad to it. I think the tech industry can be used as an extension or an asset to our everyday lives, and not something that we have to completely depend on. So if you can leverage tech and your knowledge of the industry to help evolve and advance it for the better, like, that's what I'm here for, to encourage you guys to do.
And that's super inspiring, because to have just such a tailored career finding experience, it's not common. And I think just searching for a new career path, or maybe, you've been in that journey for, quite some time, it's exhausting, and it's really, it can be discouraging sometimes to not find a good match, or to be searching and applying, and it's not sticking. So when people go on your website Beyond, they take the questionnaire, and then once they get results, are you helping connect them with contacts at those brands that they match with, or what's the process after they've matched with the different brands?
Yeah, so the results that they receive are just, it's more centered around career exploration of, okay, these are the roles that you can pursue, like the actual role titles. That gives you an opportunity to then look into them and the skills that we recommend you start learning that align with these roles, and help make you successful within that. Now, we are evolving the platform, so we add that actual education component, where we're turning company tech stacks into learning material. So every company uses a specific set of tools. The programmers use certain languages, and we want to help students actually learn the skills that those employees use at the specific companies that they're interested in working for. So if it's a dream company, they already see that direct career pathway, and are equipped with the skills to get there. So over the next year, we're going to be partnering with brands to help create curriculums around their specific roles within tech. And then also the tech companies that have non-technical roles as well, to help provide that next step, and then create more of a community environment, so that we have a Beyond Z Tech Advisory Council that's launching next year as well, with like Gen Z students interested in tech, and then giving opportunity for brands to engage with the community, and really open up opportunities to get involved on a more deeper level.
And speaking of the curriculum and the education aspect of it, do you recommend that, people that are interested in the industry go get a 4-year degree, go get a 2-year degree, or just, learn on their own? What are you seeing, what's the pulse of the industry in terms of, you know, that type of education or qualifications or requirements?
Yeah, so technology, the beauty of the technology industry is that you do not have to go through an entire 4-year program to get an actual tech role. There's a lot of tech companies out there that are hiring just based on your portfolio and your experience, based on you getting certifications. There's so many different types of post-secondary opportunities out there, whether you go the traditional route, whether you go to a coding boot camp or another workforce development program. There's different ways that help even expedite the process or help, really, conform to your learning style and your pace. From my own experience, I did study computer science for 3 years and then dropped the major. Oh, are you still there? Okay, sorry.
No,
Um,
you're fine.
so in my experience, I did study computer science for 3 years, and I ended up dropping the major because I did fall into some of the stereotypes and the experiences of my Black counterparts experiencing computer science at a traditional PWI, where I
Mm-hmm.
was one of the only Black women in the class, one of the only Black students in the program. And I did not feel as, I felt a little bit intimidated by my peers. I was the teacher would say, everybody get into group projects, and I was the only one that was excluded. Nobody wanted to work with
Wow.
me. I ended up working with the teachers sometimes. So I discovered a really awesome computer science coding boot camp actually in Charlotte. That actually was the reason why I moved to a different city to explore that. Was just a little bit more of an inclusive environment, and so it's completely up to you how you want to experience that, and just know that you do not have to stick to a more 4-year college traditional route. Like maybe like a lawyer route may go, or something like becoming a doctor. Like in STEM there are certain requirements, but in the tech space specifically, you can learn on your own. You can learn through programs online. You're a little bit more, you have a little bit more autonomy in that. And then I would also say that just as you're exploring, people are just really open to telling you about your experience. Like I would go on LinkedIn and ask so many, depending on the career that you're interested in exploring, ask someone that's actually in that role, their
Mm-hmm.
experience. Ask many people about their experiences, because everyone does have a different experience and what their day-to-day looks like, and
Mm-hmm.
see if you can start doing some of those things with your own personal projects. Create sample projects and sample ecosystems that you're kind of as if you're working for that company, and see if you like it that way. So yeah, that's it. That's the advice that I would give for someone that is interested in exploring and wanting to know what the next steps are to get there.
That's really good advice. So you have a multitude of projects that you're working on and businesses that you run. What's your day-to-day like juggling all of your projects and your endeavors? Because I know it can be overwhelming, it can be stressful to be your own boss and to also take on outside projects, etc., on top of, being a daughter and a friend and, traveling. So how do you balance that?
Yeah. So what I love about just entrepreneurship in general is it does give you the autonomy to kind of create your own schedule, create your own projects, and you are in control of what you commit to and what you don't. In the past, I have said yes to a lot of different things, or been involved in a lot of different projects that took a toll on just my mental and emotional health. And, I've been, in positions where I had to choose, doing this project or seeing a family member. And, you really have to understand, what does that balance look like for you? And
Mm-hmm.
so I've been able to create a life that I can have that balance. I can, be involved in projects. I know recently with my agency, I have delegated or transitioned a lot of my role from the CEO role to focusing on my tech startup. So I made that decision, even though digital marketing has been a passion of mine, but I did that this year so that I can truly make impact in the tech space. But my day to day, it's literally different every day. Like I will create my schedule, a week before the week starts. I'm usually traveling. As long as I have Wi-Fi in my laptop, like that's really all I need. So that's what I love about just the tech space and even like marketing or the digital nomad lifestyle. It really allows you to really just hone into what you want to do on a day to day and find time for things that make you happy. So I with my agency, we have a lot of contractors. We have about 30 contractors working on client projects. So being able to outsource some of the things to other people to spread the wealth, to allow people to really, do something that they're passionate about and give and employ people. And that has been really fulfilling for me. And then as I evolve this tech startup, like I really want to do the same as I've done with my agency and hiring people and helping changing lives from the consumer side, but also internally with our team. So yeah, I love what I do. I love, sometimes it doesn't even feel like work because, I'm just having so much fun. But I will say, I mean, it's not always perfect. So there will be times where, life just happens and things that may be happening in personal life can impact you in ways where I love entrepreneurship because it allows you to just be a little bit more control of balancing when life takes a hold. You're not like stuck to a specific like actual job that you have to be there for. It gives you a little bit more, wiggle room to cancel, certain things and, take some time off to help fuel yourself so that I can bring my best self to the job.
Absolutely. I always say, if you go to work or, you go to your business and it doesn't feel like work, like that's, you're in the right place. But, like you said, it's not going to always be fun and games and glitz and glam. There's hard work that gets you to the point of where you feel like you're being successful or you're being efficient and impactful. But it's all about that balance. It's all about, a part of entrepreneurship. I was just telling my friend the other day that was just so overwhelmed by the business that she's creating. It's like, well, what's the balance of what I'm willing to sacrifice? And I said, when you're building generational wealth for yourself, you have to, you know, almost silence the thoughts of like the instant gratification where it's like, okay, I see other people on vacation right now, or I see other people able to use their money in a different way. But it's like, you have to remind yourself, I'm building generational wealth. I'm setting myself and my family up for success so that, in a few years or whatever that time frame may be, I'm going to be in a better space because I made those hard decisions or those sacrificial decisions a few years ago. So there's balance to it all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will say like, sometimes when I think about like those times where it's like, it is like, I don't even want to think of it as like work in a sense. I think of it as like problem solving to, help me, like it's making me better just from a knowledge and skill set. So I have to continue to remind myself that this is not just like a very repetitive like job, where I'm not fulfilling myself or I'm not growing and learning. Like the work is a learning experience for me. So when I get to those points where I'm like tired, exhausted, or overwhelmed around like, that like I have a lot of actual work to do, but it's not really considered work. It's more like, okay, how are we solving problems to get this business to the next level? How am I learning along the way? And that helps keep me on track and helps me, not give up during the times where I'm just like, this is just a lot, because it's just like, if this is something you got to do. And then once you get it done, then you look back and it's like, I'm really glad that I didn't give up and I just really stuck to it, because not only did I accomplish the task, I also learned so much along the way.
Yeah. So I'm a list girl. And before I was a list girl, I was like an overwhelmed girl. So before I made lists and actually got out what was jumbling my brain and just put it on paper, I felt like I actually had so much to do because I didn't see it right in front of me. But when I started to write my list, I realized, girl, you have 3 things to do today. Until actually just breathe and organize yourself and just create some type of structure for yourself, you really realize, okay, yes, it does seem like a lot, or yes, there is an end goal that I have to get to, and there's steps and processes to get to that. But I don't have to do it all in one day. I can organize it and structure it to where, there might be 10 things to do in 2 weeks. Well, let's do 2 things each day, or, break it up so you're not feeling so overwhelmed. So that's one of the tips that has helped me, is just like getting it out, just writing it so I could just see what's in front of me and realize I really don't have that much to do. I do, but in the bigger scheme of things, it's not as overwhelming as we try to make it.
I agree. Yeah, I started doing lists as well, and I do just like you do, with like, okay, what are like the top 3 things that no matter what you want to accomplish today? Like, and you'll notice that like you'll get all of them done before like noon, or like, okay, I can add another thing. Like, you just focus on just the task at hand and not the entire grand scheme of things. Like, if you're busy building a business, you're not going to build the entire business in one day. Like,
Right.
just start with just start with one task, get that done, and then see what's next, So just take it step by step, and give yourself a lot of wiggle room as well. And sometimes, like, I've always found, like, I put a lot of like sometimes I'm like my biggest like downfall, in a sense, where I put a lot
Exactly.
of unnecessary deadlines on my own self. Like, nobody gave me some deadlines,
No
and
one.
I'm over here stressing out, and I'm like wanting to fight myself, because I'm
Yeah.
like, why did I do this to myself? Nobody told me to do this. Nobody gave me this deadline. I gave it to myself, and now I'm stressing about it. And all hell is breaking loose because in
Yep.
my life, because I didn't do what I wanted to do in a deadline that I set. So give yourself some wiggle room, and give yourself some grace as well along the way. And don't give yourself any
Absolutely.
unnecessary deadlines that nobody else gave to you, because yeah.
So, what advice would you give? And I think that coming off of that, that is, that advice that you could give to somebody that's looking at you like, wow, she's so multidimensional. She does so much, but I can't do that because I can't do it all, or I can't juggle multiple things at once. What's 1 or 2 things that you would say to that person?
Yeah. So yeah, kind of to reiterate, it's like everything won't happen right away. Like, whatever
Hmm.
your next goal is in life, like, it's better that it doesn't happen right away, because you want the process to be, as meaningful as possible, as
Hmm.
you're building toward that. Because as you're growing and you're learning, like, it will only benefit you to really become more of an expert in whatever that goal is, so that when you get there, it's not like a shock. Because if like you became like, if you launched a business and you got 1 million sales tomorrow, that may seem great,
Hmm.
but you may not realize or anticipate some of the other challenges that may come with that, with customer service, with getting
Hmm.
product out, supply chain, like all of that stuff. Like, you want it to be more of a gradual process in
Hmm.
accomplishing that goal, so that you can kind of, get all the kinks out along the way,
Hmm.
so that when the biggest opportunity does come, you're already ready. Like, another thing, yeah, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Like, keep
Right.
building, and not like, if something's not happening right away, like, don't just wait around until it happens. Like, just
Right.
keep building toward the goal. And then, timing is everything. I really do believe in the power of like divine timing. Like everything really does happen for a reason, and trust that. So yeah, those are some of the things. Like, oh, and yeah, just like as you're going through this process, like it may seem like you're just heading to the goal, nothing
Yeah.
else matters type of thing. Like you really need to enjoy the process just as much as the success. Like enjoy the process along the way. Life is short. Even if your goal does pivot and change along the way and you don't even get it, there's another opportunity that opens and there's another definition of success that gets there. Like if you look back on your journey and you think about what it took you to get there, if it's all been centered around just like stressful nights, crying, just really just upset because things aren't working out, and if you look back and it's not like fulfilling good times, like it just, when you look back and you're able to at least sprinkle in some good times, some time to take off for yourself, to enjoy time with family, friends, you'll be more appreciative and more excited about the success. And that success, when it does come, is probably, like, to me, with some of the goals that I've accomplished, it has, my process and journey has been just as fun, like in equal matters to like the success and the goal that I accomplished. So I really make sure that I integrate time to just really live, because we're here like humans, we're all, trying to do and accomplish things, but we're put on this earth to like live, like, and sometimes we give ourselves unnecessary tasks and deadlines and work and things. Like we created this as humanity. So it's important to understand that just live the life that you really want to live along the way, until you get to that point of, okay, this is the goal that I accomplished, and still remember to like soak in the good times and the memories and really take time to pause, because you'll definitely thank yourself once you get there.
That was incredible, powerful advice, and it's all so true. And I think, I'm hoping that people can listen to that advice that you just gave and really allow it to, manifest into their life, because it's very powerful, and it's something that takes a clear mind, a healthy mind, and some structure, some self-discipline. So thank you for that. I cannot let you leave here without sharing all of the details about how you just recently signed to Ford Models. Hello.
It still hasn't hit me yet, honestly. But yeah, it's been an incredible journey. I mean, it's something that didn't just happen out of nowhere. Because I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, you look down, like I've been like doing photo shoots, been collaborating with photographers for years now, really, and building up my portfolio. It's been a hobby to me, because STEM education has always been at the forefront as like, what I'm truly passionate about, and I'm very mission driven about that. But I've always been kind of hesitant to enter the modeling industry because of stereotypes around that. And I really wanted to establish credibility as a woman in tech first. So I'm not just labeled as a model only and a STEM professional next, like I really wanted to, just continue to pursue my passion in that way. But as I started building my portfolio and just started thinking, I got into my head about really pursuing this. And you really do have to do what you want to do in life. Like don't let other people's potential thoughts and feelings about you get in the way, because those are things that I made up in my head about what people would think. They never said anything. Like nobody has, even since. Like I'm really glad that I pursued this. So after building my portfolio at the end of May, I believe in the power of manifestation and writing down your goals. So I wrote, by the end of this summer, I want to get signed to a modeling agency. And so I started asking some of like my friends who did modeling professionally, started doing some research, watching YouTube videos. And then I started just going for it and applying and meeting the requirements that they asked for. So you have to take digitals, you have to take pictures without makeup, and all angles of you, do like, a walking video, things of that nature, whatever that agency requires in that application. And thankfully, um, because of technology, there's like applications online. So I didn't have to actually fly out to all these different agencies for casting calls. So right now, obviously because of COVID, they have a lot of their castings online. So it's easy process to just apply, meet the requirements. And when I applied to Ford, I literally heard back like the next day. And that was,
Wow.
oh my gosh, like, wow. And they asked me to just send like a walking video and like a personality video, and then some other like angles for like digitals. And I sent that over within the next week. I had an interview. And
Wow.
then a few days later, I got a contract. So it was just like,
Wow.
experience at like that was August when I actually ended up applying. So I spent the summer like doing as much research and doing my digitals and stuff like that. And then in August, I started just going out and applying for as many agencies as possible. And I heard back from like 2 or 3. And then Ford was like the last one that I heard back from, and it all worked out. And I'm really, really excited for the journey ahead, because there's a lot of brands that are on my vision board and dream brands that I want to work for, like or do campaigns around. I do want to do fitness campaigns like with Nike or Adidas one day. Chanel is my favorite like luxury brand in a sense. Or I would love to do a campaign with them, or walk with on Rihanna's fashion show.
Yes.
Yeah, just do things like that.
Mhm.
Or, even like Ivy Park. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited for the journey ahead. And I'm glad that I just decided to not listen to those thoughts in my head around what other
Yeah.
people would think if I did do this,
Mhm.
that I can be multifaceted. I can be a multi-hyphenate, and I can
Yes.
really pursue something that truly matters to me and brings me fulfillment. So thank you.
I am so excited for you. Like just hearing your journey and hearing how it started, like when you were 6, everything that you've done, everything that you worked so hard for is really just flourishing and blossoming. And I am just so happy to be able to watch this, on the sideline and cheer for you and support you from afar. So thank you for everything that you shared today, because I think it's really going to help people and really inspire people, because it inspired me. So I'm so excited for everyone to watch you and see you and continue to follow and support you.
Yes, thank you so much, London. Like, this has been an incredible conversation, and it's also like really like fulfilling to even or like surreal to like talk about it, and just even talking about my journey. It's just extreme validation on like just trusting the process. And I'm very religious, so all thanks to God
Yes.
throughout this entire journey as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed chopping it up with you today. And I'm excited
Yes.
for the future of your success. I mean, you are
Thank
really
you.
killing it out here. You inspire me just as much. So thank you for having me on the show.
Of course. Thank you so much, Naomi. Can you tell people how they can find you, how they can support you, and about any, opportunities maybe with your company or some upcoming projects that maybe people can support you on?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at my name here at I am Naomi Thomas, that's on all social platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can search Naomi Thomas. I would love to connect with anybody that has questions about the tech industry. My company Beyond, you can follow us at It's Beyond Games on Instagram and Twitter, and then follow our page on LinkedIn as well. But yeah, we're definitely, we launched our MVP in August, and would love for you guys to try out beyondcareerfinder.com, or go to our main learnbeyond.io page to learn more about just the company in general. Try out the Career Finder. Tell me what you think about it. It gives an opportunity to give feedback when you get to the end of it. So we appreciate that, so we can really evolve the platform, just as the users want it to be. We're very user focused, so we really want to create the dream platform and experience for you guys. But yeah, definitely we'll love to stay in touch and look out, continue to follow us to see how we're evolving the platform, because we have some awesome things coming up next year.
Awesome. Thank you, Naomi. And I'll put all those details in the description as well so people can easily find it. But thank you so much again for coming and sharing your journey with everyone.
Thank you as well. Bye.
Awesome. Bye. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode with Naomi. I was so happy and so excited to have her on the show. She shared such amazing gems with us. Make sure to check out all the details in the description box to find her and to support her and to see how you can get involved in all the projects that she has going on. Bye.